3 weeks until the man burns, 20-something days. Let's talk about the 10 principles of Burning Man. F word lovers, what the fuck is up? Welcome back to my channel, Living by the F Word. I'm Jess, I'm a fine artist, flight attendant, and festival enthusiast, and I love F words. As you saw in the beginning of this video, the man burns very soon, and I'm trying to do as many videos as possible, breaking them down, different videos about Burning Man. So the first video I did, I'm gonna drop a card right up here for you guys. If you missed that, go check it out. I do answer 3 general questions that people ask about Burning Man, including, is it a festival, what is it, and who goes there? So if you don't have any idea what it is, or you think you know what it is, I highly recommend you go check out that video so that you have a general understanding of what Burning Man is. So today we are diving into the 10 principles of Burning Man. These are not rules, these are not laws, these are principles that co-founder Larry Harvey came up with in 2004 when regional burns were starting to gain more popularity and the community was growing very fastly and people wanted to have regional events. So if you don't know what a regional burn is, that is an event that goes on throughout the year. There's hundreds of thousands of them all over the world. You could look it up online. I've actually never been to a regional burn, but I've heard they're fantastic. It's a great way if you want to get to know the Burning Man community or get involved and you can't get to Burning Man. So that's another recommendation I have for you guys. If you're trying to get to Burning Man and you haven't been able to get a ticket, definitely try to hit up a regional burn. So as mentioned, Larry Harvey made these principles so that the communities that these regional burns were happening in would understand what Burning Man was. So I'm gonna go through the 10 principles. I am gonna read them off to you because I do know the 10 principles, but then there's word excerpts that go with all of those, almost like little definitions of what these principles are. And this is definitely like the core of Burning Man. It's something that if you're attending Burning Man, you should definitely keep these in the back of your mind or know them because that is what the whole community thrives off of. I just want to remind you that all of this information can be found on burningman.org. There is so much information on there. If it's your first burn, you should be reading everything on there. However, it's gonna be my 3rd burn, and even researching and going through there's so much to read. So I could see how it could be a little overwhelming for someone that hasn't been there. That's why I'm kind of trying to break down a lot of the things that the organization writes about into these separate videos so that maybe it's a little bit more manageable for you. And also, I think everyone's really into watching videos now. So I really hope that this helps you if you're trying to understand what Burning Man is about. So let's get into the first principle, which is radical inclusion. So radical inclusion is anyone may be a part of Burning Man. We welcome and respect the stranger. No prerequisites exist for participation in our community. So let's think about what that means. It means everyone is welcome there. You're not going to tell someone they don't belong there, you know. This is kind of a difficult topic, I think, because of social media and the ever-growing popularity of Burning Man. Just be welcoming, be accepting. You know, people talk a lot of shit about celebrities out there. You know, a few years ago, you heard about Diplo and Skrillex getting booed off an art car. I don't know if that was true or not. You just hear these things, and that goes against radical inclusion. So I think it's just almost keep an open heart and welcome and help the stranger if they need it. Now, there are some other terms I will be going over in the next video, some Burning Man lingo. That way you will understand what I'm talking about in all these videos, because I might say a word you might not understand what that means, because there's actually a whole glossary of terms that are spoken at Burning Man, almost like a different language kind of. And so I think what happens with radical inclusion is you want to accept everyone, but then if they aren't reliable and they're not doing their part and they're a sparkle pony and they are just not, you know, bringing an effort, then I could totally see why this can get a little fuzzy for some people. But I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, just accept everyone. Try your best to accept everyone. Obviously, not everyone's gonna get along. This is a city of 70,000 people. Sometimes you'll run across someone that has a different viewpoint than you, and sometimes you just gotta walk away, or, you know, just, it just is what it is. But radical inclusion, first principle, everyone is welcome and we accept strangers. Okay, so now we're on to principle number 2, which is gifting. This is probably one of my favorite principles. Actually, I think they're just all amazing, but this is one of my favorite principles. And if there's something we can learn about Burning Man, it's that we can use all of these principles I'm gonna go over at other events, right? We can use these in real life. Like, think about how different the world would be if we use all of these principles in the default world, right? So gifting, number 2. I just love this one. So Burning Man is devoted to acts of gift giving. The value of a gift is unconditional. Gifting does not contemplate a return or an exchange for something of equal value. So let's talk about what this means. This means that someone can give you something and you might not even like this gift, but just say thank you because they're giving a gift to you. Now, a gift can be so many things at Burning Man. To me, Burning Man, the entire city is a gift because it's run by burners, it's built by burners, and everything that happens out there is because of burners and the citizens of the city. So that means all the art that you're seeing out there, that's a gift from someone. They've been working for years or year round on this project to gift that to you, to climb on, to play with, to look at, to enjoy, right? Also, theme camps, that's another perfect example of gifting. Because as you travel around the city, you visit a lot of theme camps that throw themed parties or different events, and they spend a lot of time, you know, booking artists, or not booking artists. Most of the artists, I think, come out there and gift as well. So that was the wrong term. But what I mean to say is they schedule, they do a lot of planning to have these parties for you. So that's another perfect example of gifting. For me this year, I feel like my camp did something amazing, and we are gifting a mutant vehicle to Burning Man this year. We've spent a bunch of different times over the course of the last few months building an art car that, of course, we can ride on, but that we hope that others will ride on and enjoy as well, and, you know, be able to get to know us. And it's a disco pig, so be on the lookout. So excited. I could throw a picture up here too, so that way you can see. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be a part of this project and gift this to Burning Man. So, I mean, there's just so many different things out there. I don't have it on now, but Barry, one of my campmates, he makes necklaces every year. I actually wore it in my Festival Essentials video, so actually I'll pop a card up here if you guys want to go check those videos out. But he makes necklaces. A gift can really be anything. It depends on the gifter. So gifting, principle number 2, one of my favorite festivals. Gifting, principle number 2, one of my favorite principles. Okay, so we're on to principle number 3, which is decommodification. Whew, this is a touchy one going on. Okay, let me just read you what it means, okay? In order to preserve the spirit of gifting, our community seeks to create social environments that are unmediated by commercial sponsorships, transactions, or advertising. We stand ready to protect our culture from such exploitation. We resist the substitution of consumption for participatory experience. Whew, that was a tongueful. So what does that mean if you even followed me? Okay, let me give you an example, a perfect example of what is going on in our society today with decommodification. There are brands out there that are very large brands in the festival community that are using Burning Man to aid in selling their products. And it happens every single year. Burning Man fashion, you get the emails, in Dust We Trust, or, I'm not going to throw out different companies that have done this because to be honest with you, there's many people, small brands and larger brands that do this that I love, and I don't want to, hurt them in any way. I just don't think they understand what this principle means to Burning Man. And basically they're going against that by advertising their brand and their clothing and using Burning Man as a popular event. You'll see a lot of people on Instagram now, they'll be doing photo shoots out there in order to, come back and have a photo from Burning Man to sell their merchandise. And just, if you didn't understand that there were principles of Burning Man and you didn't know this, I think it's okay just as long as you now understand. If you understand what the 10 principles are and you're still going out there to shoot your products to sell them or advertise them, or if you're selling your product out at Burning Man instead of just gifting it, then you really aren't a burner. So this is once again a very touchy principle. So I would absolutely love, if you're still with me, to let me know what you think in the comments below. There also was something that happened this year with a designer that was in the Paris Fashion Week that did an entire clothing line that was inspired by Burning Man, and it caused so much controversy on the internet, so much, because the truth of the matter was the pieces and some of the pieces he used as accessories are also from other burners that create. People had a real problem with, he took things from the event that were other people's art and made it his art, and then showed it to the public. And this is a perfect example of going against decommodification, that we stand to protect our culture. And we're not going to stand for advertising or sponsorships or any of this type of thing, right? So if you're a true burner, I think that kind of goes against that, because you're still trying to profit off of Burning Man. So this is such a hard topic for me to talk about. People might even disagree with me with what I'm saying. That's okay too, right? But just so you know, not acceptable to be advertising, doing any type of sponsorships out at Burning Man. So just be advised of that. All right, so we are on to principle number 4, which is radical self-reliance. Oof, this is another amazing principle that I love, that I wish everyone, took part in the default world for, many things. So let me tell you what it is. Radical self-reliance. Burning Man encourages the individual to discover, exercise, and rely on his or her inner resources. So let's think about what that means. Rely on his or her inner resources. It means you're going to fend for yourself. You're going to be responsible. You are going to research how to survive out in the Black Rock Desert in Black Rock City, and you're gonna do everything you can to be the most prepared and self-reliable for yourself. I just wish that everyone in the default world took on this principle. You see so much entitlement nowadays with people, and no one wants to accept responsibility for their problems or something they did, or, you know, something they may have had control of, because you should rely on yourself and yourself only. Yes, it's great to have, you know, friends, family, and support system. You know, you can't always do it all on your own, right? And so, you know, there's another principle that I will get into about, you know, the community coming together, right? But just make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into and that you are prepared. Just make sure that you have your food, you have your water, you have shelter, you are going to be, you know, ready for anything, basically. And then, of course, if you forget something or something happens, the community is there to help you, right? But do your best to be reliable. Show up to your volunteer shifts. If you're volunteering, if you signed up to volunteer with the airport or lamplighters or the temple or whatever, even with your camp, just try to show up. Actually, don't try, just do show up. And if you can't, try to get someone to cover your shift. So a little story about my first burn, and I will actually just tell the full story of what happened in another video, probably the Virgin Guide, like I had mentioned in the last video, because I don't want to get too far off topic. But I was a part of a theme camp, my first burn, and I ended up skipping one of 4 volunteer shifts that I had signed up for. And to this day, I still carry a lot of guilt with me for that, because I feel like I left them down and I felt like I wasn't reliable. And it was just one of those things where I had a really rough burn. It was my first Burning Man and everything kept going wrong. And I felt like I had to go sort things out. I had to go fix the problems that were happening with me so that I could, you know, make sure I could leave there and so forth. So there was just a lot of underlying issues, and I wish I had handled it differently. But I think that radical self-reliance is about being reliable for yourself and your camp and whoever you're with. On to principle number 5, radical self-expression. Yes, 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 another favorite of mine. Woo, let's read what Burning Man says this is. Radical self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual. No one other than the individual or collaborating group can determine its content. It is offered as a gift to others. In this spirit, the giver should respect the rights and liberties of the recipient. I think radical self-expression can be many different things at Burning Man. I think it could be the art you are creating. I think that it could be what you're wearing and how you present yourself, how you decorate your camp. There's very interesting camps out there that some people might be like, what the fuck is this? Or like, that's kind of creepy, or why that? Or, you know, something maybe you don't like, but that's kind of the beauty of radical self-expression, is that that's not really up to you. It's up to them and the recipient, and you know, that's how they are expressing themselves. So I think this is a quick one that we can just go over. You know, be yourself, do you, you know, and that's the beauty of Burning Man, is there's so many different types of personalities, people out there, but everyone is free to express themselves how they like. Now we're on to principle number 6, which is communal effort. And this was the principle I was referring to slightly when I was talking about radical self-reliance, because we are a community and we do strive to help each other. So let me read to you what communal effort means. Our community values creative cooperation and collaboration. We strive to produce, promote, and protect social networks, public spaces, works of art, and methods of communication that support such interaction. I think what this principle means is that we are going to band together and always help each other. You know, I think people don't realize that Burning Man is not just fun and play. A lot of it is, and it's amazing, but it's a lot of hard work too. A lot of hard work. Everyone that goes out there works very hard to build the city and make Black Rock City what it is. Unfortunately, it is a city, and just like other major cities in the world, there's also some shitty people that are out there. So, you know, you do see art vandalism, you do see theft and things like this. And so I think it's our responsibility as burners to have this principle, communal effort, to protect all of the creations and hard work the community is bringing out there as true burners. So I also think communal effort could mean if there is someone that's struggling that isn't self-reliant, or they did their best to be self-reliant, just maybe help them. You know, we've all been there where we have had an amazing burn and where we've had maybe a shitty burn. And so you don't know what that person is going through. So I think in many times communal effort is essential out in Black Rock City, just as the support system of the community. Principle number 7, which is civic responsibility. This is another good one. I just think they're all good. I don't know which one. I mean, I'm at number 7 out of 10 right now, but if you're still watching, drop in the comments what your favorite principle is, because I love them all. I think they all are really structurally thought out to convey what Burning Man is and what the community represents. So I would just love for everyone to let me know what your favorite one is, but this is another good one, civic responsibility. So we value civil society. Community members who organize events should assume responsibility for public welfare and endeavor to communicate civic responsibilities to participants. They must also assume responsibility for conducting events in accordance with local, state, and federal laws. So I think this just has a lot to do with being responsible. If you are providing a event out there or a large piece of art, to make sure that it is structurally safe for people to be climbing on, dancing on, you know, have a little sign. If you don't want someone climbing something, if they can climb it, you know, have, you know, instructions how to use the artwork, something like that, so that, you know, that's your civic responsibility as you're bringing this gift out there, to make sure that you're keeping people safe, because it's a lot of people and we want to keep the community safe. I think this also just has to do a lot with, you know, don't be doing anything illegal, you know, be smart. We are on federal land, so that is one thing you have to keep in the back of your mind, is that, you know, be responsible. I don't know. How would you, if you're a burner, how would you describe civic responsibility and what does it mean to you? I think I've summed it up. Just make sure you're doing things correctly and make sure that you're prepared for everything and that you are being safe and reliable for this community. If you're going to be building something, bringing something, just be responsible. Principle number 8, leaving no trace. This, I think, is a principle that has been carried out to other events all around the world, and I'm absolutely loving it. It just makes your event experience so much better, and it makes my heart happy that Burning Man created this principle and other events are taking this principle on other festivals as well. So leaving no trace, okay? Leaving no trace. Our community respects the environment. We are committed to leaving no physical trace of our activities wherever we gather. We clean up after ourselves and endeavor whenever possible to leave such places in a better state than we found them. So what this means is Typically when you would go to an event, you have a cleanup crew and you'll see people dumping a lot of trash and, you know, leaving their tents behind because they're fucking lazy and they don't want to deal with it. You don't do that. First of all, you shouldn't be doing that at any event, just a disclaimer, but at Burning Man, you don't want to leave a sequin on the ground. We leave it as if we were never there. And so I'm going to talk about MOOP for a little bit, which is matter out of place. And that is anything that you leave out on the playa that wasn't there. So what's out on the playa before Burning Man is nothing. The playa. So that means bikes, cars, feathers, sequins, garbage, trash. You pack it in, you pack it out, you take it with you. You bring it there, you take it back with you. Then you don't dump it on the side of a road once you leave Burning Man either. That's a big no too. Leave no trace. Civic responsibility. Be responsible. Do what you're supposed to do. Bring it to a proper receptacle to dispose of. Just whatever you do, clean up after yourselves. And so that, I think, has started to be well known around at different events around the world, which I'm just so happy for, because I think the experience is so much better when it's clean, when you're taking photos with your friends and it's clean everywhere. There's not like a ton of beer cans and water bottles and trash all over the ground. It's amazing. And I just think that if everyone knew to pick up after themselves and that, you know, someone else isn't going to be doing it for you everywhere, our experiences at events would just be amazing. So leaving no trace, that is another favorite principle of mine. And I just think that it's so important that we really try to do our best. So if you're out in Black Rock City and you see something on the ground that's not supposed to be there, even if someone didn't do it purposely, say something fell off and they didn't know they lost it. I know I've dropped my parasol out of my basket. I know that, you know, I've dropped a water bottle. I know that things just happen sometimes. Pick it up. If it's something sentimental that someone might need, bring it to Lost and Found at Center Camp and, you know, just do your part. Any MOOP you see, pick it up and put it in your little tin or your garbage bag that you're carrying around, your MOOP bag. Just do your best to leave no trace. Let's leave the playa amazing so we can keep coming back. And that's all I'm going to say about this principle. All right, on to principle number 9, which is participation. Our community is committed to a radically participatory ethic. We believe that transformative change, whether in the individual or in society, can occur only through the medium of deeply personal participation. We achieve being through doing. Everyone is invited to work. Everyone is invited to play. We make the world real through actions that open the heart. Okay, so there's a few key points in this principle I want to reiterate and read to you. We achieve being through doing. So I think participation can mean different things for different people, okay? So participating might be bringing something out to the playa for people, okay? That could also be considered a gift, but that also could be considered participating. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is you participating with that artwork or with that gift is a huge part of this community. And I know that it wasn't until my second burn that I truly felt like I was participating. I think my first burn, I was kind of like, had that sensory overload going on, like had to be here, had to be there, had to do it all, and you just can't do it all. It's just such a massive city with so much going on. And I think I failed to participate in a way with the art out there, climbing things, having fun, playing, jumping on trampolines, diving into a bus of balls. Like, I didn't do any of that my first burn. I'm just reflecting off things I did my second burn, you know, where I actually was participating with other people, doing things that were interacting with other things that people brought out there. So their participation, right? What's another thing I wanted to bring up on here? Well, everyone is invited to work. Everyone is invited to play. We make the world real through actions that open the heart. I mean, it's just pretty self-explanatory, right? Like, it's like, just participate on both ends. Make sure that you're contributing in some way. Maybe you're participating by volunteering in the city. You can participate in that way. You could just participate by having a conversation with someone else. You know, it's up to you. This is really up to the individual, but I think that I lacked participation my first burn, and like really realized that once I got home. I was like, wow, you know, I never really got up close to the art. I didn't touch it. I didn't feel it or climb it or, you know, do any of that. So for me personally, I felt like my participation level, my second burn, was just like such a world of a difference from my first one. So I'm really looking forward to being back this year and participating with my Camp Burner Brown. We're bringing an art car out there and just being able to help out with that project and participate in that way. I really, really would love to participate and volunteer with the airport or lamplighters this year. So I'm definitely gonna look into getting shifts with them. I haven't signed up for anything yet just because I have early arrival to help out with my camp setup and rebuilding the art car out there. So I don't know when exactly on the timeline for the week when I'll be able to commit to a shift. So I'll probably end up just heading over there to see if they need any help. So super excited for that, to participate in those ways this year. We are on to principle number 10, which is immediacy. So let me tell you what that means. Immediate experience is, in many ways, the most important touchstone of value in our culture. We seek to overcome barriers that stand between us and a recognition of our inner selves, the reality of those around us, participation in society, and contact with a natural world exceeding human powers. No idea can substitute for this experience. Do we want to talk about this one? What immediacy means to you? What does immediacy mean to me? I think it's more about just your involvement in an experience, right? And so that kind of summarizes the other 9 principles in a way. Yeah. I think immediacy also is just like knowing yourself, who you are, understanding the people around you, and being accepting and a part of something together. So I'm wrapping up this video. Once again, these are the 10 principles of Burning Man, and I do plan on doing as many videos on Burning Man as I possibly can before the man burns. To be honest with you, I know for a fact there is no way I'm going to be able to cover everything before Burning Man, but that's okay. I do plan on continuing on with this project of breaking down different aspects of Burning Man, Black Rock City, and the burner community, so that hopefully it will help anyone that is going out there this year. Hopefully some of these basic knowledge videos will help you. And also for anyone that is looking to go out to Black Rock City and Burning Man the following years to come, these videos will aid in your assistance for being a burner. So Thank you guys so much for living by the F word with me. I am signing off. I have to fly 3 legs tomorrow. I have a really long day at work. Just wanted to come on here and get another video in for you guys. I hope you're enjoying the videos. Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at livingbythe.f word and follow me on Facebook at Living by the F word. Please subscribe to my channel if you're interested in all the F words I'm gonna be dropping. Peace, guys.